But if a house attracts evil men,
why did it attract me?
When I was 13, my best friend and I got dropped off at a skating rink one night. My friend was expecting to meet her boyfriend there, but he wasn't. So she called him and he said he couldn't go, he had no ride. My friend found another friend at the rink who said she could give us a ride to pick up her boyfriend. He lived about 20 minutes away in a really bad area with a lot of gang activity. I didn't want to go to begin with because I would have gotten into big trouble if I got caught. My mom was scary. It was either get in the car and be left at the rink alone with no friends, or go get him. So I climbed in a small VW Bug with my boyfriend. The car was so packed I sat on my boyfriend's lap in the back seat, and we were 5 in the back of the small car. We got to the boyfriend's house and found out he couldn't go now at all. He was in trouble. He talked his mom into letting him go outside for a little while to see his girlfriend, who just drove all the way up there. We ended up at a park across the street. It was now about 10 at night. We all split up. There were 4 couples in all. And after a while, my boyfriend and I found my friend and her boyfriend. So my boyfriend left to look for the couple who had driven us there. Now it was 3 of us. Out of nowhere, a group of guys came up and started pushing around my friend's boyfriend, asking him where he was from, what gang he was from. He said nowhere, and these guys, or gangbangers, took his jacket from him. It was a King's hockey jacket. My friend and I started to walk away fast to try to get help from our other friends. When this was happening, one of the girls that came with us came walking up. As we try to tell her what's going on, we hear one of the gangbangers yell, "Hey, let's get us some weta pussy." Weta means white girl in Spanish. They began chasing us. I never ran so fast in my life, but I couldn't keep up with my friends, and I was trailing behind as we all ran. I looked back, and they were almost to me. I thought they were going to catch me for sure. I started thinking about being raped by all these guys, and I was a virgin. I'd never even kissed my boyfriend yet. I was terrified. I couldn't outrun them, and I knew it. All of a sudden, we saw a van with people standing outside talking. A family. We ran towards the van, and I guess it was enough to scare the gangbangers off, because suddenly they were gone. We got up to this van and tried to tell the people what had happened, but they couldn't understand English. Oh well, the lights and vans were enough to keep us safe for now. The rest of our friends found us, and we took off out of there back to the skating rink before my mom came to pick us up. That was the first and last time I let my friends talk me into something so stupid. We were so lucky we didn't get caught. And what those guys planned on doing to us is too scary to even think about. I should start by saying that this was not my first ghost experience. However, it was my most profound and definitive. My story starts in the summer of 2005. I had just turned 18 and graduated from high school. At the time, my days consisted of working my job at the pizza place and spending almost all of my free time with friends, as most kids do at that age. So, when my boyfriend at the time, Dave, suggested I move in with him, I couldn't have been more excited. It would mean independence for me. The apartment was small, 1 bedroom, a bathroom, and a kitchen living room area. My boyfriend had gotten a great deal on the place, only $300 a month, and as our friend's father owned the building, we would be living there during construction. I'm not really sure what the history of the building was before, but my friend's father guessed it was somewhere from 80 to 100 years old or so. Ours was one of only a few units in the structure, which was more like a house. Flash forward to a few weeks in, and we were having some friends over, having a little bit of booze and enjoying our freedom, but nothing too out of hand. There were 4 of us, myself, my friend Jackie, Dave, and his friend James. We had played some cards and walked around showing our friends the unfinished, creepier parts of the building. I can recall the basement feeling odd when we went downstairs, and my friend Jack also commented something along the lines of feeling watched. We sort of shrugged it off and went upstairs to my apartment and put a movie on in the bedroom. Jackie was lying on a couch I had in my room, and James was on the floor on a blow-up mattress, with Dave and I on the bed. We were all fairly tired at this point, so the room had gone quiet, and I was just starting to close my eyes when I noticed a dark shape out of the corner of my eye to the left in the upper corner of the room. I focused on it, straining to see what it was in the now dark room. At first I assumed that it was shadows being thrown from the television, but it still rattled me enough that I reached behind me and flipped on the light switch. When I turned on the light, the dark shape was gone, so I assumed that I had been right. But before shutting the light off, I started to ask aloud, "Does anyone else?" And before I could even finish, Jackie blurted out, "See that shit on the ceiling?" Feeling even more frightened now that someone else in the room acknowledged this, I waited about 15 minutes before shutting the light off. Another 10 or so went by, and just as before, I was beginning to let myself fall asleep when I felt that overwhelming feeling of being watched. My eyes immediately shot to the corner where I had seen the shape, and sure enough, there in the corner was a dark and what now appeared to be moving black mass. I shot up out of bed and flicked the light on, and to my shock and horror this time, the mass stayed. Now with all the lights on, the shape was clearly visible to me. It was what I can only describe as a black swirling cloud with small tendrils like smoke coming off all sides of it, or roundish if I could even call it a shape at all. It seemed to move and swell like the way water or smoke moves, and almost had a vibration around it. It was a hazy black mist, although its center appeared solid, and at this point, every single one of us was seeing the same thing, exclaiming our fear out loud. It was then that this thing started to slowly move along the top of the wall, picking up speed and going from corner to corner. I've never been so scared in my life. We all ran to the center of the room and huddled together, petrified by what was happening. I began saying a prayer because it was the only thing I could think to do in the moment. So I said the Lord's Prayer, and as I was, it seemed to get faster and faster. It moved so quickly now we could barely keep up with it. This went on for just about 3 minutes, and then, just as mysteriously as it had appeared, it traveled around the room one last time and then sucked up into a crack above the closet door and disappeared. Needless to say, we were all shaken to the core and did not sleep that night or turn off the light. I'm now 32 years old, and Jackie and I are still friends, and we still talk about this experience every time we see one another. I've had other experiences after this initial experience, and we'll probably get to those stories down the line, but not one single day goes by that I don't think about what that was and what happened to me there. It has profoundly affected me. Whatever had presented itself to us that night was a bad energy. I mean, you could feel it. My other experiences would prove that further down the line. Later, while fixing the bathroom wall, the wall shared with our bedroom, paper crosses were found stuffed inside. Still not sure why, but most likely some kind of protection. Had this happened before? I eventually moved, and me and my boyfriend at the same time went our separate ways. I never spent another day in that place by myself, ever again. I was on my way home from school, and my school was like 15 or 20 minutes walk from my home. Easy walk. So I make my way home, and suddenly this car pulls up near me. I stop and look. It's a red car with black seats inside, and it has some of those Lucky Charm dice hanging in the rear mirror. The window was rolled down by a man who was actually decent looking, maybe in the start or mid-30s. He has very nice eyes, and it's the first thing that I noticed. Bright blue eyes and light brown hair. He actually looked really normal to me. No creep vibes given off at all. He looks at me and goes, "Hey!" I look around to see who he's calling out to, but there's no one there but me, and I make the connection that he is calling to me. I am old enough to know about the whole stranger danger thing, so I stay alert as I approach. I make sure I had enough space between me and the car so he couldn't grab me if he decided to open the door and attempt to do so, although he still doesn't seem scary. "Yes," I say, thinking maybe he just wants to ask for directions or something. Instead he asks me, "Where are you going?" I'm immediately taken by surprise, but again, since he doesn't look creepy or give up any weird vibes, I tell myself maybe he's asking to know if I'm in a hurry or if I have time to give directions. No alarm clocks go off. "I'm going home. Why?" I said, still making sure I had a safe distance from the car. He says, "Do you need a ride?" Now a little alarm bell goes off, but I still think he may just be a nice guy trying to give me a genuine offer. But I'm not taking the chance, so I shake my head and take a small step back, away from the car. I said, "I'm okay, thanks. It's not a far walk." He says, "It's no problem. Your backpack looks heavy." I said, "Really, it's fine. It's just a short walk." I say it because now I'm a little more nervous. He says, "It looks like it's going to rain soon. Are you sure?" He now moves to open the passenger door. And let me tell you, I'm from Denmark, so the driver's seat and passenger seats are on the opposite of cars in England and the US, and many other places. So this is the way the roads go, too. So the driver's seat is on the left, and the passenger on the right. When he moved towards the door on the side of the passenger seat, he was moving closer towards me. So I immediately took a big step back. "No thanks, I'm fine," I say. The man probably notices my panic and nods. "Okay, and have a good day." He says that and slides back into his seat. I nod and say thank you and stand still waiting for him to start driving. He doesn't. He doesn't even step on any pedals in the car to start up the gas. He's just sitting there looking at me and lights up a cigarette. Since I don't live far away, I don't want to start walking in case he follows me. So I take a few steps and then pretend to bend down to tie my shoes, since he can't see from inside if they are untied or not. But just in case he leans up to check, I quickly untie one a little bit and tie it again to give him some time to pass me. I don't want to completely untie them in case I have to run, so I tie my shoes both a little tighter as I wait for him to drive. He still doesn't, and I'm getting nervous now. I decide to walk and see if he follows, so I walk down to the corner where I was at, where there's a lot of houses and open yards. He gasses up now and starts to turn down the same corner, and now I know I am in possible danger. So I make a run for it and stop at a gate that leads into a path that leads to all the people that live on that road and their backyards. We also had the same thing on the street I lived on, and I had a key to it, but I didn't want to take the risk of further running or leading him closer to my home. Since I was very skinny back then, I could get through the little spaces between the bars of the gate. He wouldn't be able to. He would have to try to climb over them. So I see the red car pull up as I look behind me, and I set off to run. I hear a car door open and close as I turn a corner, and quickly jump a fence into the backyard of a woman who I kinda knew, and I walked her dog. She let me in and called my mom to pick me up. I had nightmares for a long time after that. My mom did make me tell the police, but they didn't find him. I never saw that specific car again, but every time I saw a red car for a long time, I would always check for those dice. So, man in the red car, I hope you never got any strangers tricked with a ride home, and I hope we never meet again.